Hello and welcome to the recording video for Perotin Magister Viderunt omnes. This is an example of organum. It's one of the first 4-part pieces ever written. From a school that started on the Ile de Paris, which is where Paris is now. It's where Notre Dame was built. And it's called the Parisian School or the Notre Dame School. They had dispensation. They started to experiment with singing more than one note at a time, which was really rather radical. The way they did it is they took a plain chant. In this case, you'll find it in the tenor part. And they assigned it to a part that they called in Latin tenora, or the tenora part, or the holding part. So when you sing this, you just take breaths whenever you can, and kind of just, it's like a little drone. And it serves as a centering for everything that's going on around it. Just like a drone. And eventually, you know, it starts to get its own interest, and they realize you don't necessarily have to have that drone, but this is kind of where it all starts. And then you start and you sing V, and then you stick with the vowel of that first syllable, V, and then E, 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 and with those E's, put your lips forward a little bit, like a fish mouth, E, E, almost like an umlaut. E, 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 not an American E, 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 no. Then you stick with that syllable. You breathe and do all that, just go back to the E. The V is only expressed once, then you get to da at the top of the next page, da, and then it's everything's a. So you have this section, E, 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 and then all of a sudden, total color change. You go to another section where it's all and then back to E, and oo for unt. And so you have these like beautiful rooms of vowel color that you travel through as you go through the piece, all determined by as you slowly go through the text. And that's that. Then when we get to the end of the section that we're going to do, then it breaks into a plain chant. There are some repeated notes in there, and of course this would have been written out in tablature and all that. There's nothing like musical notation. But what they do in the notation here is like if they have two in a row that don't have different vowels or different sounds on them, that's just to say to sing that note twice as long. You don't repeat it like you just sing it straight through for double long. There's one that I think has 3 and you sing for 3 times longer. Other than that, you just chant it the way you normally would. And that's that. The little notes above, like let's say the first measure here, that means there's 2 in that these little pseudo measures that they have dotted out here. There's 2 beats in that pseudo measure, and then there's 4 beats in the next pseudo measure, and it remains 4 until you get to another spot where there's some spots where there's 3 beat measures, etc. And that's all there is to that. I'll talk you through the rest of it. So the first beat is 2 beats long. Everything's in triple E, like that. So I'll count 1, 2. Count with me. 1, 2. Then we'll be silent for 1, 2. Then we'll start. There's a little fermato on the first one. And nice and loud. So it's like real gusto with this. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Beat. Off and. Chant one. You will hear the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And I repeated a couple of those. You should hold them out, but I think that was clear from what I said earlier. That's all there is to that. Now I'm going to try to add the other parts to this video. Wish me luck. This will be cool if we can pull it off.